Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the Mediavite channel. So sometime soon we are going to be launching our Patreon account. It'll have at least one film commentary. You know, it might have a guest, it might just be me, we'll just have to see. Depends on how I can actually figure out how to record these commentaries the way I want to, but hopefully more than just once a month, but at least once a month. And we'll have a bunch of extra little special stuff on there all the time. But what else would you want to see? There's streams, Q&As, that kind of thing. Anything specific you would want to see on a Patreon account? Let me know. If you have not seen Mulholland Drive, the film of today, please see the film before you watch this. I'm okay with that. Pause it, go watch it, and come back, please. That would be awesome, because you don't want this movie spoiled for you, and I am going to be spoiling the heck out of this movie. When I first saw this film, I had no idea that it was real, like any clue what this movie was about, other than the fact that it was about Hollywood and that it was kind of part of like David Lynch's sort of Hollywood trilogy, if you want to call it that. So I watched it with Alex the other day, and neither one of us had seen it, so it was absolutely a freaking journey. One little tidbit before we get into my theory: the director's house from Mulholland Drive is the same house that the Warner episode of The Studio is shot at, which I thought was really crazy because I immediately recognized it for it being from The Studio, and I thought it was the funniest thing in the entire world the second I realized that. I thought the movie was really well done, but I was not completely surprised when I found out that the film was supposed to be a TV show originally, because the way the plot works out, it feels like a pilot up until a certain point in the film, and then you go, okay, now this is the point where he was like, okay, now we're making this a feature film, and this is how we're gonna do this story. And I realized that, and I was not surprised when I found out that it was supposed to be a TV show. I really did enjoy it, but there was a very specific moment, The Box, where I did not understand a single ounce or moment of almost anything that was going on, but I still really liked it, and I think most of you would like it too if you didn't heed my spoiler warning and kept watching it. If you haven't seen it, you'll like the film. Trust me, you should, and I really hope that you do, because this is one of those crazy movies that you can show people with. So just again, keep this in mind. This film was originally pitched and shot as a pilot for a TV show that didn't happen, and so they went and did reshoots to make it a feature-length film, which I believe probably is all the stuff with The Box. If I had to assume, The Box is probably the reshoots on happened at that point, but I might be wrong. I don't know actually 100% whether or not The Box is the point where the reshoots happened, but it would make a lot of sense to me. So into my theory. I've seen this theory at other places, but so this is kind of an idea I had, and then I kind of researched it and I found this idea in other places. I know Alex also had the same kind of thought. So I believe everything up to the point where the box sucks the two main characters in is a fantasy about what Hollywood looks like from the perspective of Betty, the main character, Naomi Watts' character. So then everything after the box is what Hollywood is like in reality, at least her specific situation is in reality. So Rita is the other main character that kind of runs throughout the whole film, but she has amnesia before the box, and I believe that is because so that way Rita won't have any of her own ideas, and Betty can kind of put all of her ideas on to Rita without having to worry about Rita's opinions on things. Rita, post the box, is a fully functional human being and a real person, up to a degree that we can tell. So the director of the film that she sees, because it's all about Hollywood. The whole movie's about Hollywood, if you don't know. But the director of the film, she gets really upset, like visibly upset, when she sees the director of the film. And that is because Rita and the director of the film are actually getting married in real life. In her delusions, she doesn't realize that and she's just upset. But then we figure that out at the end after the box. The other thing is, so there's a cowboy character that you meet in the film. The director goes and meets this cowboy character up in the hills of Hollywood somewhere, right? He mentions to the director that you will see him one more time if you did good, and 2 more times if you did bad. And what's interesting is if you watch, he only shows up 2 more times throughout the film. He walks through, you see him once, and then he walks through the background again, and you never see him again after that point, which I think that is very clearly intentional, even though I don't know exactly what it means. So then there's this point where Betty and Rita are they need to get into this one apartment to try to find one of the women that may know Rita because she has amnesia. But you find out, so they walk into this apartment and you find out that there's a dead body that is supposed to be where the woman that knows Rita is, right? But you find out that that same woman, that's actually Betty in reality. That's Betty, and it's so confusing and the timeline's weird. It's really confusing. There's also this moment where directly the scene right before the box happens, there's this weird theater scene where everything is being lip synced throughout the whole film. And that kind of plays into what I think, like why I think this film is a illusion of reality from Betty, because of the way they keep talking about the things not being how they really are. And I think that's because Betty is being like hallucinating a fantasy of what Hollywood is like. And then when the box happens, it's the reality of the situation. The layers are being peeled back, which I think is really, really interesting. So again, just to kind of confirm my theory, I think everything pre the box is a fantasy of Betty's brain, and I think everything after the box is reality of what Hollywood is like. But that doesn't mean that the things that happen in before the box are not real. I think they're real. I just think that those things don't exist. The way that we're perceiving them isn't exactly the way the things are actually happening, if that makes any sense. Like, there's a hitman through line of the film, kind of. The hitman through line happens. It's just, why does it happen throughout the film? And there's very clearly a difference between pre-box, post-box hitman story. And again, you'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen the film. So you can follow everything that we do with Media by Co on TikTok, Patreon. Again, if you want to watch, listen to the commentaries of all your favorite films, you can go to the Patreon. It's $5 a month. Commentary at least once, probably more than once when this really starts getting going, and streams, Q&As, special videos, all kinds of things will be going to you guys on the Patreon. It's just a way to help support me as I perceive my future in filmmaking and all that stuff. And this is kind of, that's my dream. I've always wanted to be a director, and I am a director. I make short films. Yeah, so you can find all those films there. Patreon helps support that dream, as well as making all the videos here, good, and helps me get what I need to make these videos better for you guys. So that's it. Same thing with all the podcasts, Slash It Podcast, Media Bite Podcast, and Diary of an Indie Filmmaker, Slash It, all things horror, Media Bite Podcast, all things film, gaming, and Diary of an Indie Filmmaker is the more artsy style side of everything, where we kind of talk about all the troubles and tribulations that I have about being an indie filmmaker. So thank you all, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.